Hello and welcome back. My name's Andrew Keeping, and today I'd like to discuss with you the basic techniques of being able to compose your own piece of music or improvise on the guitar. That's not just using chord sequences, but the combination of how to start by using a simple chord sequence and providing a melody over the top. This is something that the guitar is renowned for. And whenever we hear guitarists play music and just sit down and play the guitar, this is what we want to be able to do. This is what's inspired us quite often to pick up the guitar in the first place. So today I'm going to take a very, very basic, simple chord sequence, which is a turnaround progression. In this case, we're going to do it in the key of C major, so there's no sharps or flats. Keep it nice and simple. And we have C major. We're going to go to A minor, D minor, and finish on a G7 chord as well. Now, because in my right hand I'm using P, I, M, A, my thumb is playing the bass note or the root note of every chord. My index finger is playing on the third string. My middle finger is playing on the second string only, and my annular finger, the A finger, is playing on the first string only. So I'm just going to do the chord sequence on its own, P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I. Let's do 4 beats in a bar. So P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I, P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I, P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I, P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I. That's what we're going to do for the moment. That's the chord sequence. Now, part of the diatonic chords, and I'm going to produce a little chart to show what the diatonic chords are. What does diatonic mean? That means chords that are related to the key that we're playing. So in this situation on the chart, you can see it's a C major chord, a D minor chord, E minor chord, F major chord, G major chord, A minor chord, and a B diminished chord. Now, as you can see, the chord sequence we're using are chords 1, 6, 2, and 5. That's the chord sequence. Now, the interesting thing here is that we have this diatonic chord sequence, as I say, related to the key of C major. That means that every one of those chords in that key of C major, we can put any note of a C major scale over the top. So you can improvise any note of a C major scale. Let's keep it in first position. Let's say we're just going to play the notes from the third string, and we're going to go G, A, B, C, D, E, F natural, and G. It sounds like it should go to F sharp because I'm starting on a G and I'm ending on a G, but we're in the key of C major. So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're our notes of the C major scale, and the reason I'm keeping it in first position is because all the chords that we're using for this turnaround progression are all in first position. So watch this. We've got C, A minor, D minor, G7. Now, we're going to do a little exercise to help us. We want to keep the thumb on the first beat of the bar. Let's have a look. I'm going to play any note of the C major scale from that pattern that I did before. Do you see what I did? I'm just adding fingers that are part of the C major scale. Now, the interesting thing, to start with, just play on quavers. So if I'm playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we've got our 4 beats in a bar. I'm playing quavers. That's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I can play any note in any order that's part of the C major scale. So provided I keep my thumb on the bass note, watch this. Now that time I used the thumb twice, didn't I? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That was 2 bars of C major. Let's do 2 bars of A minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, just playing notes around the C major scale. D minor. And the G7. And back to C major 7. There's the C major 7. So actually the C major chord, let's not complicate it any further. So what I'm actually doing is just playing on every quaver of the bar. Keep counting to yourself, because otherwise you can quite often lose your position. But having that bass note on the first beat of the bar, it means that any other note can play around it. And the more you do this, the more comfortable you become. And what actually happens, improvisation is actually, it's not something that you can just do on the spur of the moment. It's something you train to do. And what we're doing here, we're training ourselves to play around the notes of a C major scale with the bass included and filling in around the chord of C major. So my C major chord is still there, but I'm just adding notes around it. So little extra notes, passing notes if you like, around the C major scale. I'd like you to just experiment with that. Use it. Play around. You can create your own exercises. So start very simply by coming down the scale. A minor. See, I'm just moving up and down the scale. And then you can start building it up. So listen, good luck with that. Experiment with it, see what happens. All of a sudden you'll find little things, little musical motifs that become your identity, that you really like, and that you'll play time and time again, and you'll start including those in your improvisations, and we can take those into other keys at a later stage. Good luck.